So this is nothing being everything, everything being nothing. And when I say this, I mean what's appearing to happen: energy, life, whatever words you want to put on it. And in that, there seems to appear a sense of feeling that there's what's happening and there's a me that things are happening to. So, in other words, there's a sense of being separate. It's it's not a concept or an idea. It's a lived feeling of feeling that there's a world there and there's a me here. There's life and there's me with my life. And generally, if you were to go and ask people, that's the reality. That's what is. You are a person, you're an individual, you have a life. So there's life, and you are in the body and you have a life. And what you do or don't do, and the choices you make, shape that life, the kind of life that it is, and impacts on others, and so on. And this is what we're told. And this goes unquestioned, really, for the most part. And what's being shared here is a different perspective, another possibility. And there's nobody being spoken to, there's nobody being asked to believe this or anything. It's simply a sharing from nothing. And the sharing is that actually that sense of being a person is an appearance, it's an artificial energy. So there's actually just what appears to happen, which is just energy, let's say. And words are very limited, because actually what is energy, nothing being everything, is beyond knowing or understanding. But the person lives in a closed loop of their own knowing and thinks that everything is knowable and explainable, more or less, maybe. But this is totally beyond understanding and knowing. And it's simply just what appears to be happening already. So once you feel like a person, a separate individual person, there's a yearning for something. There's a sense of everything has been lost, because there's me, little old me, in a big world. So everything has somehow been lost, and there's a yearning or a sense of unworthiness, or whatever language you want to put on it. And there's a searching, and this the apparent person searches in as many different ways as there is apparent people. It's just, that's what we see in the world, different ways of filling this apparent void: money, power, careers, spiritual endeavors, whatever they are, and increasingly more modern ones. And that's fine. Nothing right or wrong with any of that. And what's different about here, what's being shared here, is actually what's being yearned for and searched for is simply just already what appears to be happening. Just this. And it is continually overlooked in favor of what might be or maybe, in that hopeful energy of being a person, that sense of there's something better around the next corner. So there is no next corner. There is simply already energy, which is nothing being everything. And that can resonate, and does resonate. So we'll see how it resonates this evening. There are no particularly smart questions or silly questions. It's just a sense of there may be a sense of this, a curiosity about this or whatever. It's different for every apparent person. So, but there's a sharing here, and it seems to be in question and answer format, both of which are from nothing actually. But this isn't about there being an answer to the question. It can be seen by nobody that there actually is no question even. There's just already simply whatever appears to be. So you can put your hand up in chat and we'll see what happens. Hi, Stephen.
Hi, Kenneth. Can you
Hi.
hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
So I got a couple of things, and just I could be 1,000 miles off. So don't hesitate. So I watched a bunch of your videos. One with Frank McCaughey.
Yeah.
Can I be frank? And I've watched a number of his. I watched Zero and One and that. So there, in the one video, it was a two-parter. You were in a room talking to some people, and somebody asked you a question, and it was funny because I had the same kind of question, and I wrote it all down so I could ask you. So so it seems to me there's three kinds of experiences. One is I'm in a dream. I don't know I'm in a dream, and that's how life goes. Two is where I think I am, where I know I'm in a dream, and I know there's the people that don't realize they're in a story and think it's all real, and then there's people like you, liberated. So with as you've said and others say, this message can be received. People freak out. Some people are real open. I have a friend that is like, yeah, obviously. I have another friend. I think I sent him the link for Zero and One, and like 10 minutes later, the phone's ringing. What the hell is this? And this isn't right. The routine. So my question is, how do you have relationships with people when I recognize my story, which I have, is meaningless, and that while it looks linear, it's not. And but when if I talk like that, people don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
So some people don't like that. So it's. Did you see the first Matrix movie?
Will we just pause there though, because you did ask me a question,
Okay.
so I'll just
Yeah. Yeah.
answer that
Okay.
one. So you
Yeah.
asked, how do you have relationships with people? So you don't,
I knew that was what the answer
and
was.
nobody actually does, but they really feel they do. So so if you feel like a separate person, it's a lived reality as a separate person, that you are a separate person. I'm in everything is real. I live in the real. I'm real. You're real. Like blah blah blah, right? And there's a sense that of relating to another person, and there's a sense that there's a thing called a relationship that needs to be nurtured or cared for or whatever. And all of that is in the story. It's all a story. There actually is no thing called a relationship. There never has been. And it's a story or a game that appears to go on. The person would feel that it's, I'm real, you're real, and it's this relationship we have is real, and all of it needs energy and work and all of that. And the person can't hear what's being said here or imagine it, so they would think that if I'm not here and you're not there, the relationship falls apart. I don't see you, you don't see me. We don't nurture each other, or we're not in our roles anymore. For instance, if it was a husband and wife, or a husband and husband, or for that matter, or woman and woman, and they have children, and they think, oh well, if we're not there, then we won't nurture each other, we won't nurture the children, and all of this, and all of that, everything will collapse. So this is what the person imagines. They imagine would apparently happen. And what's been shared here is that actually there's already no relationship. It's already a story. So fathering happens, or mothering happens, or girlfriending, or boyfriending, or whatever these things are, brothering, sistering, sonning, daughtering, and then we add ourselves to them, and that's the way it is for everything. That's the way it is for we add ourselves to everything. Things we're hearing, things I'm hearing, I'm speaking, I'm thinking, so on. So that it's always an addition. This sense of me. It's an energetic thing, the me. It's an energetic contraction. So, and it's a lived feeling of being in the body. It's not an idea or anything, really. there is the mind aspect there, there are the thoughts and the conceptual aspect to it. But um, so there you go. There's that. There's no relationship, and it's very obvious when there's nobody. It's just very obvious. There's just what appears to happen. And then the other thing is there's already nobody. So there's already just unconditional love or energy, nothing mean everything. So where would there be to get to with anything? There's nowhere to get to with anything. So either this conversation appears to arise or it doesn't. So either people appear to feel separate or they don't. So as regards having a conversation with, a person to suggest this, it doesn't matter. I mean, it simply doesn't matter. It either comes up or it doesn't. And if it comes up and it's rejected, was flat out rejected, like the example you gave, or kind of evokes anger or something, then that's what's appearing to happen. That's energy. It's incredible. And if it appears that it arises and it resonates with somebody, like you said, again, you said the first friend, it kind of, oh yeah, that's obvious, or yeah, okay. That's also just what appears to happen. And one isn't preferable over the other, because when it's seen by nobody, everything is just energy, then that's it. And also because there's no agenda to this, when you no longer feel like a person, there's no agenda to challenge anybody on their sense of individuality, because if there was, it would be, well, it's all a story anyway. Why would I need to challenge you? Who am I even challenging? And to what end am I doing that? So there you go. But it is lead balloon stuff. I mean, this is just, people think vaccines are fucking conversation killers. This is just going to, you're kind of going one step further. I shouldn't have said that word. They'll pick me up on the algorithm and fucking censor me.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, I'm only having fun. But it's a very obviously very confronting. Like, what could there be more confronting than your own absence, really, when you think about it? Like, I mean, for the person, it doesn't get much more confronting than that, like, really. Everything is a story. Everything you think you've experienced is a story. You've never done anything. I mean, it's just horrendous. It's horrendous. It's appalling to the like. This is love. This is absolute love here, and absolute love is a killer. It's completely horrendous. This is not a nice message for the person. It's about the end of the person, and it's heard as it's heard. Then, so it's either uncomfortable or it just resonates, and it is what it is.
So I have one other question, sort of question. So all of these meetings, there's a lot of laughter, and at what seems to be recognized as absurd, the things we're talking about, and everybody, a lot of the people laugh. Is that any type of recognition that there's no one there?
No, I mean, once you start to go putting meaning on that and some sort of weight on that, then I mean, again, you're into story,
Okay.
really. I mean, I would say there's an energy. The closest I can come to is that there's a boundlessness to this communication that is different from communications which are a person who speaks to another person, who sees somebody and speaks to them about what is possible or where they could get to or something. This is complete boundlessness, and there's a resonance with that, and that tends to often be fun. There tends to be fun and laughter sometimes, but if I was to describe some particular significance to it, I mean, it'd all be a story.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm sorry.
You're okay. That's the one I get called the most. I get called Kevin most weeks, I would say. For some reason, they're interchangeable. Hi, Kim.
Hey, Kenneth.
Hi.
Here I go.
Yeah,
it's your this. There you go.
apparently.
Yeah, yeah, apparently. Kenneth, whenever pain arises, and I think it has to do with something, uh, is it then only a story? Because pain is just pain without relating to whatever.
So what do you mean though when you say it has to do with something? What do you mean by
Uh,
something? What?
wh- when I not have my girlfriend anymore and pain comes up,
Yeah.
is it then it has nothing to do with her? It has just
Well,
to do.
it's just what's appearing to happen. So if there was a relationship, a parent relationship breakup, that could be painful, and there could be upset and pain, emotional pain, and that's what would appear to be happening. So everything is nothing, and nothing is everything. And anything can appear to happen. The where the apparent problem would come in is a sense that I am an individual who has emotional pain. So it's my pain. I was in a relationship with this um, lady. The relationship broke up, and that's when all things get complicated. A sense of the story kicks in, and it's my pain, and I have to understand it. I have to do something with it. I have to, and also very much a sense that it's not enough. It's not okay for there to just to be pain. It's not okay really for the person, for the individual. Largely, like, it's not okay for there to be emotional pain, and that's just what's appearing to happen. It has to be kind of pushed away or understood or dealt with in some kind of way. So pain appears to happen, then you add yourself to it, and that's where all the problems start.
Yeah.
All sorts of pain, physical pain. You stub your toe, very painful.
Yeah.
Pain happens. Emotional pain can happen. Someone dies suddenly, someone's sick, or someone decides I don't want to be around and they leave. They're all apparent losses. There could be emotional pain. Yeah. Everything. That's life, energy.
Okay, thank you, Kenneth.
Thanks. Hi, Chris.
Hey, Kenneth. Can you talk a little more about who this message is for, to the extent that it's for anyone, which, if I understand conceptually, it's from nothing to nothing in a sense. But when I hear it, I try to make something of it. And on the one hand, I understand the message is there's nothing to be done because there's no one here to do anything. But then on the other hand, I hear there might be a resonance, which makes me think there's something that can happen.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So it is for no one. The communication is from nothing to nothing. It's just a sharing from nothing. It doesn't see a target audience or a target, because you see, fundamentally there isn't already no individual. There are people who report themselves and feel that they're separate. So this sharing there tends to be some sort of a resonance with it, or an engagement, and that's what appears to happen. There's certainly no kind of target audience or target person from the speaker or any speaker's perspective. It can't be understood, it can't be known, and it can only be, the person can only imagine that it resonates with somebody or something. So it's impossible actually for the person, and the person isn't being spoken to. It's completely impossible for the person. The person just, it's unfathomable that it could be that it would just resonate, that it wouldn't resonate for someone. And that's because the person feels like someone and can only imagine that something would have to happen to them or to someone else or to something, you know. And that's just the very nature of it. It's not imaginable. When it resonates, it resonates with what you are. You could say what you are, and what you are actually is not that individual person you the story you, that lived reality you feel you are. It is what you are is nothing being everything, energy, everything being nothing, which is energy, which is incomprehensible. You can't imagine that. Or does that kind of answer your question? I think I might have meandered a little bit, but
no. I mean, it kind of does, but then so when I hear the message coming from you/nothing, anything I might make of it, any insights or anything is just story, just pure.
Oh, completely, totally, and utterly.
Any like, now I got something.
There's not, completely. Like, there's nothing you can hold in your mind that is what's been shared here.
Yeah.
There's no idea you can have and think, oh, I've got it now. I understand what Kenneth was saying. It's not understandable. Like if you I don't understand anything, I don't know anything. That's how it's a totally boundless communication, because it doesn't come from a sense of somebody who knows something and then is telling someone else that knowledge or imparting that knowledge, which is what we're used to. That's the norm. That's what we're used to, which is fine. I mean, that has a functional thing. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it appears to be. The person can't imagine their own absence, and so therefore the person isn't being spoken to here. Nobody's being spoken to or asked. There's nothing being asked of anyone, because there is nobody already. There's just energy. It's just what's appearing to happen, and it doesn't matter. Like, the person will only reject it, really, or try to understand it, or can't do anything with it, and all of that's irrelevant, because it resonates. And it just resonates with what you are, which is nothing being everything, or it resonates as it resonates.
And it resonates as it resonates, and that's it.
Absolutely. I mean, it resonates, and that sense of being a person, that contracted energetic sense of being a person, can apparently fall away, and then it's very obvious that there's just what's appearing to happen. There's just energy. And what's also obvious in that is that there was always just that. There was always just what's appearing to happen, and that was always what was looked for when I felt like a person. And feeling like a person was only an appearance or only a story. But that's the way it is.
So when you say it like that, and I realize words are very limiting, that makes me think that there's a causative.
Oh, completely.
The nothingness speaking to nothing can cause the illusory self.
Yeah, of course you can. Like, it can only sound like a carrot, you see. Like, the inherent in this is it can only sound like a carrot to the apparently separate person. It can only sound like a carrot. But that's fine. That doesn't matter, because the apparently separate person is just a story. It's just a story anyway, so it's of no interest to this in this regard. Do you see? So it doesn't matter what it doesn't matter if it's rejected or accepted or kind of understood in a conceptual way or not understood. All of that is completely irrelevant. Doesn't matter. It can it can resonate.
So
it just plays out like, but also see already, that body mind there is nothing being everything already.
Right.
Already. So that's, and that sense of maybe feeling like a person will just play out like it plays out anyway. And it's very ordinary. That's what I meant to say at one point there. It's very ordinary. I keep coming back to that. It's so ordinary and immediate. It's not at all related to the ideas the person has of what's being shared at all.
Thank you.
Thanks. Who's next? William, hiya.
Hi, Kenneth. I had some questions, but it feels really pointless to ask them now.
Well, you're not asking them anyway, so. And of course it's pointless.
The thing is, no matter how many questions about this go around in my head, the bottom line is whether there's a question like conceptually or not, the sense of being a person, it just can't make sense out of what's being said. And there's a desperation to get something out of this communication.
Mm-hmm. That's what's happening then. That's what's appearing to happen.
But it seems like this message is useful for something. I don't know what, but it feels like it does loosen up some kind of...
If it feels useful, then it's just useful in the story of the person. That's all. Like that I feel more relaxed when I'm, and then that's just what's appearing to happen then. That doesn't have any meaning. It only has some meaning that the person would put into it. Like it can be that there can be very tightly held concepts about the way the world is and the way I am and the way I should be, maybe spiritual ideas, religious concepts, religious paradigms and things we've grown up with that can kind of loosen when this is shared. There can be an engagement with this or kind of a hearing this, and where these concepts kind of loosen and almost fall away, and the person can have a more free, a sense of more free way of being. But that's also just what appears to happen. It's not a goal. It's also not a goal or anything. But it can be like that. And it's different. It just is the way it is for, every person or apparent person who's listening to it or resonates with it.
So in the end, when the sense of being someone appeared to fall away there, the character Kenneth's more free, but the message wasn't seen as having value because no one got that.
Yeah, I mean, it's seen that nothing has any value, because it's nothing being everything. So any value you would put on one thing over another is just in the story of separation that, that experience is valuable, this one isn't. Sitting here drinking tea and I'm just looking out the window, it's meaningless, it's nothing. Whereas I had this lovely interaction with this person who was talking about dying, and it was very powerful, and that was full of meaning. These are the contrasts, the dualism that the person is. And, in that sense of separation, everything is full of meaning. And that's simply the sense of knowing that the person has, because there's a sense of, there's the world and there's me, and I can know the world, and I am, and an abstraction of meaning and knowledge. Nothing wrong with it. That's just what happens.
Yeah.
It's very frightening for the person that this would be meaningless. I mean, it's one of the first things that often is said is like, if this is heard, it's like, that's disgraceful message. Everything is meaningless. That's just like the person trying to imagine everything being meaningless. It's just horrendous. Like they can tie themselves in awful knots. But like if everything is seen as it is, it's unknowable. It's like where would their meaning come into anything? I mean, it's obviously just a human construct or a human addition to what's appearing to happen. That's totally empty. But that can't be really seen till there's no longer a sense of being a person. Or it can be, actually. It can be. I've heard from plenty of people that see that they still may feel like a person, but it's seen that everything is obviously, any meaning is contextual and blah, blah, blah.
The funny thing about listening as the response is coming now is that I always have an idea that I know what this message is saying. I know what you're going to reply, or
Oh
whoever's
yeah.
But
Yeah.
as you're saying the words, it's still a surprise.
Yeah.
hear.
That's the boundlessness I've been talking about. I mean, this resonance. When it resonates, there's something that can be sensed, that there's something being shared here that's beyond knowing, beyond concept, and also that's the newness in it. That newness can be very much sensed. Of like you're saying, oh, I thought I'd ask this question and you'd say this, and it'd just be because the person kind of is living in the known and lives in a linear reality of repetition. So I kind of know this because I spoke to Kenneth last week and I asked a similar question. So he's just going to ask something similar, and that's only that closed loop of knowing that the person has, and the newness isn't seen. It can't be. It's impossible. Because there's all the time there's this subject object reality and a living in the known. Everything isn't new. It's at times it's new and at times it's not, and it's artificial.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks. Hi Dario.
Hi. You somehow answered most of my questions, but I'm gonna ask them anyway. You're gonna say it. But in the person, like when something happens, it takes conclusions about it, and then it runs around with these conclusions and tells its story about what happened.
Yeah, because there's a sense that something happened to me.
Yeah.
You know, or else maybe not directly to me, but something that happened in the world in which I live, so which I can relate to, which I have an opinion on. Yeah.
Yeah, so when that sense stops, then there appears to be happening something, but it's not happening to me. So there's not necessarily
it's nothing appearing to happen. You see, the difficulty is now you're into the territory of completely impossible to describe. But also completely ordinary and obvious. It's just already what this is already. Nothing appearing to happen.
Yeah.
Here now, this is nothing appearing to happen now. You know, there's not even a now. You know, now implies a then. There's no the time is real and unreal, but it's only real. You know, it's a story. So this, like, there's a voice, there's a computer, there's sitting on a chair, and there's apparently other people, a certain number of them who are in different parts of the globe, who kind of show up as little boxes in a thing called a Zoom call. And all of that is a story. Actually, this is actually just all energy appearing as what I just described there. But for the person, it's real. For the person, that's what I mean by living in the real. For the person, it would be, say if I was applying it to Kenneth, there would be a really felt feeling of, I'm sitting on a chair and I'm speaking now. I'm speaking to this gentleman here, and you know what I mean? It's the same and it's completely different.
It's so weird. Like, I listen to what you say, but there's no meaning. Like, you don't say anything in a sense. Like, it's all nothing. Like, yeah. Yeah,
well, that's what's happening there. Then some other person would get all sorts of meaning out of what's been said.
Yeah, I can go there.
Take away all sorts of stuff.
I can put it into like a framework.
Yeah.
Or I can just listen to the.
It's just an energy. Yeah, it's all about, like, that's why nearly always when I start, I always refer to a resonance. Now, the resonance isn't a thing that happens to you. Yeah. It's just it's an attempt. It's a word that points towards this energetic sense of what's being shared here. That is not a conceptual knowing or understanding of what's being shared here, because that is just a me who understands that they're not there. That is, I mean, that doesn't make any difference at all. And it's what it's pointing at is that actually life is unknowable, and it's so immediately just what appears to be. It's completely unknowable actually, but when you feel like a person, there's a sense that it is knowable, and that's all because there's a sense of separation. There's a sense of me and a world out there. And that's what it is being illuminated here.
Can I have one really short last question?
Yeah, you're fine. Take your time.
So this resonance or the unknowability is always there, but it's covered up by this loop or this cloud of knowing.
Apparently covered up. It's actually all there is. Already all there is just liberation, if you want to use that word. It's already, there's just energy, which is nothing being everything. It's apparently covered up because that energy of being a person is, artificial. It is all there is. Like, it's not that it's just available in some kind of Zoom meeting and it's somehow special and you can, like, in the world, it would be the world, what someone would expect out of something like this. Like, if someone has joined this meeting today for the first time and didn't really know a whole lot, and maybe they have, because people get on the mailing list every week, so they might have expected this to be essentially, this man is going to share something about wholeness or oneness maybe or whatever, and he's going to tell me how I can do something to get there. That's what we're so used to.
Yeah.
But there is no there to get to, and there's no you who can do anything. And there's just already just nothing being everything, which is so amazing. And so there's nothing required of anybody. Anybody here is just being seen as already whole and complete, already energy. So therefore, there's nothing required. There's nothing asked. There's no requirement to join another Zoom meeting. That will either appear to happen or it won't. It's inescapable. I suppose I'd sum it up by saying that it's inescapable. What's been suggested here or pointed towards is inescapable. It's actually all there is already.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dario. Hi, Anita.
Hi, Kenneth. So this is already boundless energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering if I have an appointment with a colleague, so that's a story.
It's what appears to be happening. An appointment with a colleague is what appears to happen. The person would feel that I have an appointment with a different person, and that it all kind of happened because we made choices, we did things, and it's happening. There's a living in the real. There's a real sense of that.
Yeah, there was a real sense, but in reality, it's unreal.
It's an appearance. It's what appears to be happening. It's real and unreal, actually, which is beyond the mind completely. It's simply what appears to be like this. Now is more. Go on then. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm wondering. So if we have that appointment, I think it's all storytelling. Is it a kind of a reinforcement?
Not really. No, it's just what appears to happen. It doesn't matter what the thoughts are about what's been. If once there's a lived sense of feeling like there's been a person who makes an appointment to see a colleague or a friend, and that I really did this, and it's really happening, and it wouldn't have been, and there's a sense of living in time and space and being a person who has a life in life and all of that stuff. Once that's there, it's there. It's just what appears to happen. And it doesn't matter. It's not I'm not saying that anyone could do something that would somehow be wrong or,
Yeah, I was wondering if it was a reinforcement.
No, I mean, all the time there's a sense of being a person, there's a sense of being a person. When I say about reinforcing the sense of me, I don't mean that in a real way, because the sense of being me is artificial anyway, so it's not that you're really being reinforced. Usually that's in reference to communications that speak to you and tell you you're a person with choice, and here's what you can do to get, you've lost oneness, and if you do these things you can be whole again and find oneness. And what's being pointed out is that only just feeds the sense of separation. That's all. Whereas the person feels that it's that they're doing something that can get them somewhere really, and that this is the solution. I think that's yeah. So if there's an appointment with a colleague, that's just what appears to be happening. And if there's a sense that you are a separate person, and that it's really happening and there is time, then that's what's appearing to happen. Fair enough.
Yeah, but it's also it's but it's meaningless anyway.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm in a double, so yeah. Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I'm thinking I it's not necessary, and sometimes it's good to have that appointment.
Yeah, but the thing you're forgetting is the appointment appears to happen one way or the other. So the appointment appears to happen, but then you add yourself to it. So what could be the case is that someone could hear this and think, oh, well, if that sense of me fell away, the appointments wouldn't happen, the job would all collapse, the kids wouldn't get fed, the mortgage wouldn't be paid, because this is the person imagines that everything hinges on them, everything. And what's been shared here is the ridiculousness of that, the obviousness of this, that there is already nobody, you're already not there. The mortgage appears to be paid, the appointment appears to happen, so on, so on. Your artificial software overlaying everything. That's what's being shared. You didn't ask those questions there. They're just those speaking, and although there may be a sense of being a you there, or there may not, I don't know. It appears that there is, but whatever. Thanks, Anita.
Thanks.
Hi, John.
Hey, Kenneth. Delighted to be here again.
Apparently,
yeah. I was just wondering if we could just for a moment, talk about time.
Yeah.
So I really love the idea of there being no time, and that kind of resonates. So I get the idea that, the apparent person experiences the world and then kind of captures the experiences in a kind of time sequence. So breakfast happened at 8:00. I'll just capture that in my memory, then lunch, then dinner, and that's all sequential. So
yeah, it's a functional thing that appears to, like, time is real and unreal. So it's real in the sense we can talk about 8:00 in the morning, as opposed to 8 p.m. We can now say it's 10 to 10 GMT plus 0 or whatever, you know what I mean? But the person feels it's absolutely real, and they feel they're real, and the space-time continuum, because it's obviously two aspects of the same thing, that's a lived reality more for the individual. It's an aspect of feeling like a person. And then when there's no longer a sense of self, there's still, meeting someone at 10:00 at the agreed place appears to happen. So there's the functionality of time, but it's very obvious there's no real thing called time. It's clear, because in the same way it's very obvious there's no sense of being there's no me.
So I just wondered if all the appearances just kind of collapse on top of each other, just kind of appear and collapse in no time, or if all the appearances kind of happen simultaneously, at breakfast, dinner, and tea, all appear and collapse,
For you, are you saying like what it's like for when there's no longer a person? Is it?
I guess.
No, it's not describable. You see, that's the difficulty with it. The difficulty is nobody has yet been able to describe what it's like to be not feel like a person anymore. But if they're clearly talking about it, and it's not a compromised message, if there is really no longer a sense of being a person, and it's a clear, uncompromising message, what you'll very much hear, definitely, is how ordinary it is. It's just so ordinary. It's just already, because there's already nobody there either. There's nobody. You didn't just ask a question there or say anything. So it's very, and yet it's indescribable. It's not indescribable in the sense of it's just so out there and fireworky and esoteric. I can't even describe it. It's not like that. It's just so immediate and ordinary and obvious. There's just what's appearing to happen.
Yeah.
And it's not, I can't put it into words, just as I can't describe this either. You know, I can't like this, I can't, which is the same. I can't describe, I could come out with a loads of words about the chair I'm sitting on, the Zoom, the computer, the light, the way it is, maybe a thought that arises, or maybe an emotion that's there, or an emotion that was whatever. But it's not what's appearing to happen. It's not actually it. It's still just a story. Yeah. So it's in that way that it's not describable. You know, it's just so obvious and ordinary. And it's all I can say really is that it, like 8 o'clock would appear to happen, or it would appear to be. I would look at your watch and okay, that's, you know, but that the realness of time collapses, just in the same way as the realness of me. It's just suddenly gone. It's just suddenly gone, and it's like. It's the most amazing thing, because this me is like some people have described it. It's like your best friend or something, just there on your shoulder all the time, kind of has gone through everything with you, like this voice in your head that you've kind of narrated everything with, and it feels like it's so real, and it can feel, for some it can feel like when it's illuminated that it's artificial, there can be an almost overwhelming sadness actually. And then that just all collapses as well. But it's the most remarkable thing. It's just that all of that solid sense of being a me, like it can feel so solid, like that I'm here, I'm in the body, I'm looking, I'm hearing, I'm thinking. Where are you? Where are you? Like where are you? Really though, where are you? Like, are you behind the eyes? And then people describe, and they describe the body and the organs. So what are you? Like, are you're a spleen? You're bone marrow? Are you piss and spit? And what are you? Like, I mean, all there is actually just a body mind that functions. That's all there is. There's no you in there. There never has been. Never has been. The me that we're illuminating here is artificial. Never even started. It appeared to start, but it energetically appeared to start when you were a child at some point. This energetic sense that I'm here and there's a world out there. And what's being shared here is that that's a story.
Okay, good. Okay, thanks. Yeah.
Thanks. Hi, Tanya. How are you,
Hi.
Tanya?
I'm good, thanks. I don't really so much have a question as I just want to have a conversation about something that the me is just grabbed onto. So what has been so unrelenting about this message is, for the me, is that I don't do anything. It's kind of funny, you're just talking about all that. And it's been really relentless, unrelenting for my me. It's just really been caged up in this. So last night I was watching a gym video, and somebody asked the question about suicide. And I've heard this question asked before and never really thought about it. But last night, for some reason, Jim said that something like the stress of the me, wanting and searching can, cause the body to get sick. And then my me just grabbed onto that and it's like, see, I do something, and now it's like, I'm in this loop, and my me's just like talking to me and acting like, yeah, see, I do stuff. You're wrong. I do stuff. And so I just want to shut that down, and maybe talking with you about it could help a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's what appears to happen. Like from I don't feel there's anybody there that there's anything to shut down. I can't see anybody to help. If I saw somebody to help, then this would be a different communication. So what you're describing is energetic. It's just energy. All there is energy. So there's a sense of a me who you're almost in dialogue with, and then that's what's appearing to happen.
Yeah.
If I was to speak about offer you something that could stop that, then I would feel that there is someone there that can stop that then.
Yeah.
You
I
see?
think
And then we're just back into something else altogether.
yeah.
So I mean there's just energy. Are there maybe even remove the just, there's energy, right? There's energy, and energy is nothing being everything. There's not nothing and everything. There's not two different things. There's not life and death. There's energy is nothing and everything. It is not, sorry, nothing being everything, and everything is nothing. And this is completely beyond the mind, but that appears as whatever it appears as. And that can be something that's very discomfortable, uncomfortable, something that's painful. That's energy.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't, like, the person has an idea of what's being shared here is, all my problems will fall away, all discomfort will fall away, all pain, nothing will bother me anymore, and it's the me that's the root of all these things. And so it imagines some kind of state. This isn't about a state or an experience, but it imagines some kind of state where none of these things would happen, and therefore reinforces the narrative that I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah.
And when actually there's just what's appearing to happen. So if that's a rah, 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 then that's rah, rah, rah. That's what's appearing to happen.
And that's what I.
and rah, rah, rah goes rah, rah, rah till it doesn't.
Yes. And I'm.
And that's the way it is.
Cool. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks. Hi, Chris.
Okay. There was a little silence and we have like a minute left, so I'm just going to go ahead and ask it. In follow-up to my earlier question, if that's okay.
Apparent silence. Yeah, go ahead.
Is it okay, interesting. Okay. Well, so
yeah, it's funny. The person feels that because the person feels like something, and it's living in real, then nothing can't be seen. And when there's nothing being said, it imagines this thing to be silence, and it relates to that in some way.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. It's a story.
Okay, fascinating. All right. So back to my question about kind of what the message. So, and I'm going to use the wrong words here, but
it doesn't matter about the words. So you can't really use the wrong words. I mean, as I said at the very beginning of this, there's just this. This is a sharing, and then there's if there's a question, it's there to be asked. You can't go wrong or right with it, really. It's all about energy. It's energy.
So is the message in part that maybe there will be in participating in these meetings, there will be a seeing by no one that there is no me?
No, that's still imagining. Yeah, that's still imagining that someone has some sort of agenda or some sort of goal. That even the word participating. That there are people who, through the participation in the Zoom, there be an outcome where this sense of separation falls away. So there's no sense that from here that there's other people, there's real separate people who are participating in a Zoom meeting. That's all a story. That's how this is boundless, you see, and free and unknowable and new, always new, because it's not coming from somebody who sees somebody else.
So that resonating is just like, that's just really has got me. And just like, that seems like a thing that's happening in some fashion. Like if I sit in front of a TV and watch one Zoom video after another, something may resonate. There's a causative causation there.
Yeah. That's the person that lives in that sequential, linear, causal reality where one thing could lead to, does lead to another. So it's logical that it would be the same for this. Then they would think, well, if I watch enough videos or something, I'll get there to what Kenneth is talking about. There's no there to get to. It's simply just.
But if I don't
boundlessness.
But if I don't participate in the Zoom meetings, then there can't be a resonance.
You're not participating in the Zoom meetings. You're not there. You're not talking there. There's just talking. Talking just appeared to happen there. There is no you in there who's doing or not doing. That's what's being shared. That's what's been shared for the last hour.
But if no one doesn't speak to no one in this fashion, then a resonance can't happen.
There's already only liberation anyway, so it doesn't matter actually. It's a suggestion or a sharing, and that sense of being a person just plays out as it plays out, one way or the other. And physical death, it's just seen it was all a story anyway. So it's not as if it's still coming back to as if there's some objective with this, or there's someone who feels that, and also that there's a sense there that there's something happens. There's nothing actually happens.
Yeah.
That's why you will always hear me say the apparent me apparently falling away, because the me doesn't even really fall away, because it's the end of that sense of there being a sequence of in the real that things happen, and then, this causal reality.
You're killing me.
I know. It's completely beyond knowing and understanding. It's totally, you're not going to get anywhere with this.
No,
and that's the sense of like all that the person really wants Kenneth to in some way offer something.
Yeah.
Like it's just really struggling. And that's just the way this appears to be, this message. And then unconditional love is not offering anything to an illusion. Unconditional love is seeing you as nothing, which is everything already.
But by holding Zoom meetings, isn't there an offering?
But this is only what an appearance. This is what's appearing to happen. Again, what you're going back to, because that you're going back to somebody who sees somebody else doing something.
Mm.
I'm not holding Zoom meetings. It's an appearance. It's what's appearing. This is nothing appearing to happen, which is completely beyond understanding. And when this Zoom meeting is over, there'll still be nothing appearing to happen. And it's all just energy, nothing appearing. Nothing being everything, everything being nothing. And that sense of being a separate you that it's happening to is a story. And that can just be seen. It's just seen, that's it. It's just seen. And then you'd email me and we'd talk and you'd say, okay, there's just what's happening. And you wouldn't be able to say it then. And it would just be it would just be, and it's just that it's very obvious and ordinary, and it's just what's happening. It's not special.
Thank you.
Thanks. William, you've got one you want to...
Yeah, you just said that this Zoom meeting is nothing appearing to happen, and after this, there'll just be nothing appearing to happen. But after this Zoom meeting, what those eyes will see and what that body will do is different to what these eyes will see. So isn't that two different, separate happenings?
Yeah, I mean, there's 8 billion different separate happenings, if you wanted to put it to the person, but it's all just energy. It's indescribable, you see. It's like what it feels, every apparent person is completely different and unique because it's oneness. It's all just energy. It's indescribable. It's not that it's just indescribable. When you don't no longer feel like a person, it's seen that there's the flavor of everyone is different, and that's just the way it is. You know, what's seen through the eyes, what pours through the senses, obviously is going to be different with every apparent person, and that's just all energy.
But also what I can't, well, I probably won't understand this. Sometimes when I'm talking about this message with certain speakers and they say there isn't a world, whereas I experience myself as being in England, and then I would say you're an island.
Yeah. So these are the boundaries that we put on when we feel like a person. We feel actually all them boundaries go back to, you know, say the UK, there's Ireland, there's America, there's people tuning into this from all over, right? We could go through all the countries, and they're all a story. It's all a story. Like all these boundaries and borders are all obviously a story. You know, does a swallow, when he flies over Africa, look down and see Ghana turning into, I'm going to expose my ignorance now because I don't know what's beside Ghana or whatever, you know, I mean, like they're all lines on a map. It's all a story, but it feels real. It feels real to the person. So and all of those borders and boundaries come back to the fundamental sense of the boundary of me and the world. I'm in here. I'm bound by this skin, and I have a life, and there's life out there. So there's life and my life, and that's that separation that we keep illuminating for the last whatever as being a story. And then if that's no longer there, people could still speak about the border in Northern Ireland, or the border between Wales and England, or whatever border you want to speak about. I know what you're saying. And you know, I could go to another border, and I know that I might have to produce my passport. All of that information's still there, but it's obviously just a story instead of it being real. So everything, the realness falls out of everything then, because the realness was only to do with you feeling like a separate person who lives in the real.
Thank you.
Thanks, William. Thanks, guys. Finish up. I put a link in. I think I put a link in, did I? Oh, yeah, I put it at the beginning.
Thanks,
I usually put it at the end. Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Kenneth.
I'm going to send
Thank
an
you.
email. I'll probably have a one-day thing on, I think it's Saturday, but I'll send an
Saturday.
email anyway. So it'll be probably 2 sessions, one at 12 o'clock on, and then another session. So there you go. Anyway, thanks a lot. Lovely to see you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kenneth.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.